number one, you are always trying to find a way to impact the lives of young people. You know, in those years in college when you're changing a lot and trying to figure out what you're doing with the rest of your life, I had a great mentor and guide. And my college coach, very important guy to me. That's really where, for me, I figured out what I was going to do with the rest of my life.
All right, we're back with another episode from the 513. I'm Tony Pike here with defensive coordinator Tyson Veidt joining us today. Coach, I feel like it's a little bit of a chance to take a deep breath because you come in and you try to implement a system in year one and there's just a lot of moving parts. So outside of the football field itself, how have you been able to enjoy the city of Cincinnati now that you've been able to settle in a little bit?
Don't know that I get out a whole lot. If I got some time, I try to get to our kids' activities a little bit, but obviously we're right in the official visit weekend mode right now and recruiting and all that, so we've had a chance to show a lot of visitors the city, and that's helped me a little bit too, get out and about on a bus tour and things like that. But obviously have enjoyed taking our kids to a couple Reds games from last summer or this summer, and I think it's certainly a great place to do a lot of things.
What was it about this job and this university that made it very enticing for you to want to come to Cincinnati?
Sure. Well, number one, born and grew up in the state of Ohio. Same with my wife. My entire family, her entire family is in Ohio, so that's certainly big for us. Cincinnati itself, naturally have known about it all my life, and the great tradition, and having been on the opponent sideline here before, and certainly being in the Big 12, familiar with that. So I felt comfortable certainly coming back, and the chance to work for a great head coach, a down-to-earth guy, and an awesome program, and excited to be here.
At the start of all of this, when you began your coaching journey, what was it about coaching? What did you want to do in this profession that inspired you to be doing this?
Well, number one, you are always trying to find a way to impact the lives of young people. For me, my college coach, very important guy to me, someone I still talk with, and I was hoping, in those years in college when you're changing a lot and trying to figure out what you're doing with the rest of your life, I had a great mentor and guide in that. So, and that's really where, for me, I figured out what I was going to do with the rest of my life. I didn't necessarily go to college to be an education major and be a coach.
Sure.
So I had a different thought in mind. And I think the part for me, I wasn't a very good player. I thought I was a great teammate and had leadership ability. So I used that in the sport of football. But I always felt like football really shaped me, formed me in the locker room, on the field, and if I had the opportunity to shape young people in the way I was shaped, I thought that would be pretty awesome.
Is there something you learned early on, either from a player or early on in coaching, that still sticks with you in what you're doing today?
Sure. I think the show up early and stay late. If you're the first guy in the door and the last one to leave, you have the ability to try to dot all the I's and cross all the T's as a player and as a coach both. So that's the thing that has always stayed with me from my time as a player, and hopefully I've had the ability to carry that through as a coach for sure.
Culture is always a key word in sports, team sports, with football right now being so prevalent. How do you describe the culture of what's being built here at the university?
Sure, yeah, and like you said, Tony, that word is thrown around a lot. And probably a great buzzword for us in this day and age, from the corporate world all the way to team sports. So, here we're an effort and attitude and toughness-based program, blue collar. That's really what we hang our hat on, and I think that's what the city of Cincinnati wants to watch. They want to see effort, and they want to see attitude, and they want to see a tough football team. So for us here, that's really what we're working on every day. For our guys, specifically on defense, our whole thing is, for us to have a really good football team, we need to have a really good defense. So our guys can't think that the offense is going to outscore so we can win. So we've got to determine the outcome of games, hopefully with a great defense.
Take me inside one of those unit meetings. You know, you think of having a great defense. What are some of those pillars that you're trying to instill early on with your group to have a great defense on the field?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the number one thing we talk about, irrespective of what is happening on the field, our total pursuit to the football. So, and for us, that is what we work on every day. We drill that. Our guys understand that all 11 have the ability to impact a play, irrespective of where that play is headed at the snap. So, the pursuit to the football, and for us, that's a mindset. From the biggest guy to the smallest guy, from the fastest guy to the slowest guy, we all have the ability to impact a play as it goes. So that would be the number one thing we talk about each day. Two, for us, is to be a great fundamental team. In my opinion, we are a developmental football program. We're going to get a lot of high school players here that we recruit, and we've got to continue to develop guys as we go, retain those guys, and that's really our goal. So if we're working on fundamental football every day, we feel like from the 6-year senior to the freshman that just got here last weekend, that we're able to improve the skill set of each guy we have.
If you turn on a high school tape or even looking in the transfer portal and you're looking at a certain player, what attributes would jump off the screen about that player that would make you think, man, he's going to be successful in this system?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. Well, as I always look from the bottom up as you're watching a guy on video. Mm-hmm. You're looking at their feet and all those things. At times it's hard, but I try to, when the film gets cut, you're trying to look at the effort throughout the play from start to finish. So, as you know, you can watch video in many different ways. I think watching entire games of guys from the start to the finish is really the way to do it. And then if you're specifically looking at, let's say you're looking at a defensive lineman, you want to see how he is impacting the play at the end of it. If you're looking at a defensive back, you want to try to figure out, man, can this guy do that skill set of covering a very fast human being down the field? So, but I think still it's the effort portion of it that you're really looking at when you watch guys. How hard do they play?
I remember my junior year playing here at UC thinking, man, this playbook is huge.
Yeah.
And then you get another year into the system and it doubles and it triples. And at the same time, everything starts to slow down as well because you get more time in the system and more time to get comfortable. How much more are you guys looking to unlock on the defensive side of the ball another year into a system that's not very it's unique to college football, what you guys are running?
Yep, very fair. Well, I think a few things for us. We feel like with the number of returners we have, we're going to be an overall better defense, obviously. We've got some continuity there from the front to the back. We're excited about that. For us, we feel like everything starts up front, and that includes our linebackers as well. So that front six core, I think, determines a lot of what you're able to do with the rest of the defense. So with the number of guys we have returning, a couple guys back from injuries and those things that had a great spring for us, we're able to change some things in the front to then match that up with what we're doing in the back of it. So I think ultimately in the back, you're trying to make things look a little bit different with coverages, but it's going to boil down to a zone or a man, and then how many are you adding into the rush portion of it. So we feel like we are ahead a little bit of where we were this time a year ago. Naturally, the part that always sticks in my mind is to try to keep things as simple as possible. We played 8 true freshmen in varying degrees last year on defense. Those guys are back, so the part of keeping things simple in the teaching aspect of it hopefully allows some young guys to come along, because it's still the same, Tony. You're going to need every guy you got. It's a long football season. You know that. You played plenty of ball, and there's some guys that start out fall camp thinking, man, I'm going to redshirt, and I just got to get through to the next day, and then all of a sudden, they're down working in the 2 deep, and you're going to need them when you run out on the field. So, but I think we're excited with the group we have, with the continuity we have, and some guys are able to communicate at a high level for us pre-snap. So that's exciting for us.
The term play fast is used a lot. It's hard to play fast if mentally you're not confident in where you are. So the mental side catching up for freshmen and sophomores and guys that are new to this system, how much does that allow again, you to unlock another phase of playing fast when the mentality is there with it as well.
Yep, absolutely. Well, and I think that's a great point with, each guy is a little bit different with what we got. We've got some D linemen that have the ability to rush the passer. We've got some other D linemen that are 300 and above that are run stopping kind of guys. So we feel like with that group, the same with the linebackers, depending on the game situation, the down and distance and all those things, we have the ability to change things up the same way in the back end. We've moved some guys from safety to corner. We've got better depth there, better competition. So I think we'll be, it's still about situational football. That it's every down is critical, and you've got to be sharp with what those down and distances are as you're in the game, but also as we're working to send guys in from the sideline.
How unique is it at the University of Cincinnati that now it's not just a pipe dream to play here and then play in the National Football League and also play at a very high level? You think of guys that have come through here. I think of Derek Wolfe on the defensive side of the ball on the line, Sauce Gardner, Kobe Bryant. There's players at every level of the defensive side and offense that are not just in the NFL but have been primary role players in the NFL. How big is that for recruiting, to be able to watch guys on Sunday and lean on those guys of, look, you can come here and then you can go fulfill your dreams and play at the next level? Absolutely
huge. And I think what's awesome about the two guys you mentioned, Derek Wolfe and Sauce Gardner, got here, really everybody probably thought these are developmental guys, right? Physically and all those things. And then just did that through their time here, developed, and then one, had a great career, two, is having a great career. So that part of it is really what we're driving home with our guys. That naturally, when a guy gets here, starts with Nico Palizzetti and his great staff in the weight room in that developmental phase. And I feel like what you're able to do probably more than in the old days, for lack of a better term, you're spending some more time with guys through spring ball, through the summertime, on the field, and some things you're able to do with them now more than ever. So the developmental part of it is huge and probably never stops. So that's the part that we're excited about here, that we've got some guys that are developing and we can see that, and they're getting better. Guys that you're recruiting, you're able to show them this story of Cincinnati and the great history here in that.
What do you need to see from your defensive unit to be great this year?
Number one, as you know, you've got to stay healthy. That's going to be a key for us. We've got to continue to keep, as coaches, we've got to continue to stress the competition into things. So complacency cannot be there with an older guy. And then the younger guys got to continue to push as if they're going to prepare to play. I think those are really important for us. The second part would be consistency for us, which is really what we're talking about every day with our guys. You've got older guys where the sand is going through the hourglass. We just talked to them about this last week where, if you're a senior right now, there's more sand at the bottom of that hourglass than the top. So there's some freshmen in there with they're looking at there's a ton at the top. They're not even thinking about being a sophomore. Their senior year is so far off in the distant future. But that consistency portion for us, I feel like we had some great moments a year ago. Do I feel like we were consistent from start to finish? We weren't. And we've got to be better there. Whether it's the first down of a series or a critical third down, we've got to be a more consistent defense.
Dontay Corleone was one of those guys last year that comes off a very serious health scare. Probably never feels like he can be back to 100% as the season is going on. But a player like that who's locally homegrown from Coleraine High School that chooses to come back for another year when he could go to the NFL. And not only that, but a guy you can lean on from a roster development standpoint and know that he's going to be doing the right things on and off the field. How big is he for your defense?
Huge. Dontay's a connector within the building and on the field, and has great leadership qualities. Obviously, guys played a ton of football, but two at a high level. We were our best on defense when Dontay was at his best a year ago, and that's a fact, whether it was in the run game or the pass game. So the great part, like you said, Tony, we have been able to work through the health issues, and I think importantly, he's able to be more consistent now because he knows the process and how he's got to manage everything.
Sure.
And I think our medical staff the same. So that's very exciting. The fact that he trusts us as coaches and as a program to know coming back is going to be in his best interest, I think is awesome. We're excited for him to have a great senior year. And I think, as you know, any team goes really as the seniors go, right? And that's going to be very important for us.
You mentioned excitement. There's a lot of excitement around the indoor practice facility. How much of a weapon is this for you guys in being able to now take take something else off the list of what makes not only a great recruiting tool, but for these players and coaches as well?
Absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head with the guys that are here and how that helps their day-to-day operation, their development. And I think, as time goes, technology certainly is going too. So the ability for our guys to be in one building and have access to all of the things they can do to take care of their bodies, not just from eating great food in the dining hall, but having the ability to take care of themselves physically throughout the course of a season will be awesome for us.
Lastly, you have a chance when you walk these hallways here at UC, you see great players that have played here, but also a lot of the coaches that have left a legacy
Absolutely.
at the University of Cincinnati. We talked at the start of this about why Cincinnati. How important is it from a legacy standpoint that you're etching your name in there with so many great coaches that have been a part of this university as well?
Well, for sure. The history here obviously is unbelievable. There is great tradition here, and to try to be a little part of that, hopefully I am being a little part of that for sure. But I think what we're trying to do really is, and as we grow here and build collectively as a program, you're trying to get to where some of those great teams were. And I think as coaches and as players, and we know where some of those great years have been, we certainly have a guidepost on how to get there, and that's awesome for us.
Coach, this was great. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Good
Thanks,
luck this
Tony.
year.
Yep, appreciate it. Thanks, man.